Hello friends, today in this tutorial I will be telling you that how to validate your user HTML form fields in browser with custom messages, and in this tutorial we will be using the concept of callback functions. So if you watched the last video, I have used the concept of promises. So in this video we will be using callback functions. I will be showing you how to do this. So the functionality remains the same. If you submit the form without entering fields, you will get this message: please enter all the fields. If I left the password field empty, then again I will be getting the same message. If I enter the name short here like this, 2 characters, then I will get name should be at least 4 characters. If I repeat the password field, password should be at least 6 characters. So if I type all the details correctly, then it will say form is validated. So the functionality remains the same, but you will get to know about callback functions if you haven't in JavaScript. So this is a great technology if you want to use inside your projects. So now in order to build this, just open your favorite text editor. I have opened Visual Studio Code text editor. Just make index.html file and JavaScript callback. So I will just write the bare bone HTML. I will not use CSS or any bootstrap. So you will see it is currently empty. So if you want to get all the source code, I have given the link in the video description. So this is a single index.html file is required here. So just go to the video description to download all the source code. So now to get started, we will be first of all be giving a heading, which is form validation. So you can give any heading of your choice. And then we will have two input fields here, input type text, and this will be ID will be name, placeholder, enter your name. Then we will have the same for the password here. So we will give a ID to it of password, and the placeholder will be enter your password. And then we will have a simple button which will be submit form. And we will also be giving an ID to it of button. That's it. So this is all the HTML that you will need. Now we will include the script.js file. So just inside the root directory, just make script.js. And now we will get the reference to the button. So document.getElement by ID here. So we will pass the ID of button. So button, we will attach an event listener. So when we click the button here, so this callback function will execute. So every time you see we are attaching this event listener, we are using this callback function. So the second argument, we are passing a function to another function here. So this is called as callback. So if you haven't heard before this term callback function, callback is a term where we pass functions inside another function. So when we click the button, what will happen here? So callback function make your code asynchronous. So this is a asynchronous is the code where you're not executing the code in a sequential manner. So this is meant by asynchronous. And when we click the button, what we want, we need to declare two variables here, which is name and password. And also we will declare one other variable message, which will be the messages which will be shown to you in alert box. So now to get the name here, we will simply again use document.getElement by ID. So we will pass the ID name, and to get the value we will write dot value, and same we will repeat for the password as well. Dot value. And now guys, you need to make this validate form function. This will be a custom function. We will pass name password to it, and that's the business logic here. We will make this function let validate form. And now this is a difference comes here when we use the promises in the last tutorial to make this same application. We return promise to this function. Now we will pass callback. So in the third argument, put a comma, and here we will define our function here itself. So this is the arrow syntax. So we will be expecting a message inside this. So whenever you call this callback inside this function, so let me just show you, we will simply alert the user with the message which will be coming from the second function. So here inside the second function, we will pass this like this. You can call it anything. This is just a variable here. We are passing a whole function here, this function in a form of a variable. So this needs to be a function, I think. So name, password, and the third argument is callback. So for the sake of simplicity, I am calling this variable as callback. You can call it anything. This will not change the code. So this whole function is encapsulated into a single variable which is called as callback. So whenever you need to call this function inside this function which is validate form, so if I just call this like this callback, and if I pass a message here something like this, hello world, so what it will do inside this program, it will call this callback function and this snippet of code will execute automatically. So the control of the program will shift to this code automatically. So this is meant by callback function. You are invoking another function inside another function. So this makes your code asynchronous. So basically, if I refresh the application, you will see what I am telling you. If I click this button, you will see hello world will be executed inside this. You can see we have defined this inside this callback function. You can change this message anything. So I will be changing it accordingly. So we will compare it for the name. So if the name field is empty, and also this we are using OR operator, if the password is also empty, in either of these cases we need to call our callback here once again. So simply call this and pass your message. Please enter all the fields. So this is a simple concept we are using of callback function, which makes the code easier to read as well. And again, we will have another condition. If name.length is smaller than 4 characters, then we can again pass a message. Name should be at least 4 characters. Else if we will compare for the length of password. So if the password is smaller than 6 characters, then we again need to pass a message. Password should be at least 6 characters. And last but not least, if all the fields are correct, inside this else we can pass the success message that form is validated. So that's it. This is the logic of the application, guys. Hopefully you understand this logic of callback function. This makes your code a lot easier to understand and also write it as well. So if I submit form now, you will see please enter all the fields. If I enter one field, you again will see this message, please enter all the fields. If I enter the password 2 characters, password should be at least 6 characters. If I enter the name short, name should be at least 4 characters. If I enter all the information correct, form is validated. So this is the concept of callback function, guys. This is not mandatory. You need to define this function here itself. You can also define it outside as well. So let me just uh, make this message. Let's suppose message function, we make it. So you can also define this like this also. Alert message. Now you can print this alert message. That's it. So now you have defined this function outside and you are just passing it inside this variable. So if I again do the process once again, I think you can see cannot access message before initialization. So you need to move it just before you invoke it. So right here, that's it. So you need to define it before you invoke it. So just make it like this sequential order. So once again, if you click, you will see please enter all the fields. So this is the power of callback function, guys. Hopefully you understand this concept, and you may decide whether you want to use promises or callback function depending upon you. So thanks very much for watching this video. Please like the video, comment the video, and if you want to get all the source code, go to the video description link and download all the source code. I will be seeing you in the next video.